So, Jerry Seinfeld, what an intro, was doing a speech at a college, and a bunch of students walked out. And I think the only thing we can blame that on is the negative response to the Pop-Tart movie.
Yeah.
Definitely not politics. No siree. There's always a more nuanced and safer thing to have caused all the problems in the world and comedy.
Well, I think it was because of Kramer. Him and Michael Richard are.
He's been locked up since the early 2000s.
No, they just got a development deal
For what?
a new show that's gonna rally
The
against
Michael Richard story.
rally against woke comedy. Yeah.
The time is now. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Joe Pontillo Show. My name is Joe Pontillo. With me today is famed filmmaker, co-runner of the the Vermont Comedy Festival, and this is what happens when you make a new friend in your late 30s.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people make friends early on, and they just kind of, that's it. Now, all of my childhood friends, I don't know what to do with them at this point.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of people in comedy that I would say, like, yeah, we're friends, but am I hanging out with them outside of comedy? I don't know.
We are.
This is as outside of comedy as you could possibly be. We are nowhere near the stand-up comedy scene right now. We are actually losing bookings doing this show.
I turned down 3 spots to be here.
I can't believe how many afternoon shows popped up on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to do a library, an old folks home, and a coffee shop. I said, no, I got to go see my boy Joe Pontillo.
We are recording what I think is a podcast, but could also be a talk show. I'm not really sure. This is episode 6. We made it to episode 6. Here's some news. I have a Patreon now. What? So it's another thing you can use to not give me money. I had one for years for my production company, but I never really promoted it, and I didn't have anything regular going. But now I sort of have something regular. So if you don't want to donate to any other form that I have, payment I have, you could become a monthly Patreon, and for like $10 a month, I think I bring you a bowl of soup or something. Thank you for the support, everybody, except the one person. So Matt was actually referenced on episode 3 of this show.
What? What is this?
Spoiler. And for some reason, someone left a comment saying, "I'm just glad none of the comedians have beards," or something like that.
What?
I probably should have looked it up before I brought this up.
About me specifically?
Yes, it was about you specifically.
Who are these animals in the comments section? Maniac.
YouTube is filled with negative people. I feel like she was probably joking. Oh,
that's a pretty good joke. I see. Because it was a comedian with
the picture I used of you was very happy. It was the one where you were smiling.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you're like.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
I think I was talking about the time we got pulled over by the cops in the middle of Pennsylvania. And then I think the term rogue Amish came up.
Rogue Amish.
Yes. And then me and the guest, who shall remain nameless, just talked about how awesome of a dude you are.
Oh.
And then he was like, I gotta get him on the show!
Guest! Thank you, guest.
Yeah.
No thank you, beard-hating comment
What are people's problems? You put these shows on YouTube, and you're just asking, you're just like, I need to find new people wwho don't like me.
Like, have you ever been on, I've never done it, because I'm a Pisces, but have you ever been on Reddit Roast Me?
I've never been. No, but I've seen people post screenshots of it on Twitter.
Yeah. The comments are getting pretty bad.
I not so much recently, but occasionally I will Google myself. And one time something on Reddit came up where the post was like, I think they said who's a famous comedian that you don't find funny. So people were leaving all these comments about, famous comedians who aren't funny. Some of them are people I actually know and have worked with before. They're like, oh, this guy's only good on podcasts. And then one random dude actually left a comment that said, one time I saw a comedian who was so bad, the audience was literally looking at their feet. And that was Joe Pontillo. And I was like, what the hell show is this? I stalked the guy, because that's what I do. And it looked like he's from Pennsylvania. And I'm like, I can't, I remember bad shows very well.
But never a foot stare.
No. Also, what is it? But also, at the same time, I was like, oh my God. But then I was like, yeah, but I'm on this list of like all these famous people.
Well, I was going to say...
I was like, this is actually like my top 3 credit.
I was just going to say, if I were you, I would have people bring me up. Yeah, you may have seen him on the famous list of comedians on Reddit.
Yeah. So, because it was all like, maybe not Chris Rock, but it was a couple people we know.
Chris Rock.
Were on there, and Chris Rock.
No, and people said Chris Rock wasn't funny too?
No, I don't think Chris Rock was on there. I'm trying to think who was on there who was actually like famous. There was Chris Stefano was on there.
Okay.
I've mentioned a lot.
That's a Chris.
And I actually used to know Chris Stefano back in the day. One of the nicest people in comedy.
Yeah. Killing it too. Killing it.
He is killing it. I don't know why, but he's killing it.
He's killing it.
Yeah. He's one of those people I'm like, yeah, good for him. I don't know. But, yeah, that's all I can remember off the top of my head. But it's fine.
I just realized I gotta go.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I better go Google search myself and see.
Thanks for joining today's episode. Well, I don't know who could... I feel like there's a small group of people who just decide to... I'm like very well liked, especially in comedy.
Yeah.
For some reason, even though I feel like I'm very rude and sarcastic, but I think people just like, that's just Joe Pontillo. Whereas when I met you, I feel like the only vibe I got from you was, oh, this dude's just too nice.
Too nice?
Maybe. Well, when I first met you, I was like, I had seen you in some videos.
Right?
And I was like, oh, this guy seems nuts.
Right.
But then we like had one conversation. And I was like, I get it.
I've been called thank you. Recently I was at Young Ethel's, a lovely bar.
Great place.
Great place.
Thank God you don't do it. No, I'm joking.
Great place, great shows. Used to have the best Tuesday show in all the land.
Great vibes.
Great vibes. Good vibes.
Until the haters showed
Until the haters. I don't know what that is. But the bartender told me, I'd never heard of this, but he said I'm chaotic good. Have you heard of this? There's like a square, like it's like a table.
That's a good way of putting it. You're one of these people, I feel like we could throw you into any situation, no matter how good or bad it is, and you'll find a way to have a good time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like, we went out to go do a show. The show didn't happen. We still had fun. The third comic that was with us wanted to kill us.
Everybody. And everything.
Wanted to just blow up the earth.
It was like the Fight Club.
We're like vibing. Somehow we sold a t-shirt.
you sold a t-shirt before the show that never happened.
Yeah, and then we went back. We hung out at the pool. Just good time.
The Elks
you were ready to make it work in this, air conditionless, electricity-less, no working outlets, haunted asylum we were gonna stay in.
I'm very in tune with like the paranormal.
Yes.
Thank you. And there was legit right before we had to evacuate. There was like a woman. I mean, I told you guys that night, but there was legit like woman talking out of the wall.
Right.
And I was like, all right, this is.
So like, yeah, I'm a fan of the paranormal. I don't know that I've. Maybe I have. But I'm also just... It's like it doesn't bother me. I'm just like, oh, there's something happening? Whatever. Just do your thing.
I've had a lot of things...
Do your thing and go.
I think ghosts are like dogs. Like in the sense, like you meet like they just want to sniff you. And then like if they like find you're not like a threat or a bad person, they feel like they kind of leave you alone.
Right. And you would think the fact that it wasn't even a hotel. Would we call it a motel?
I would call that oh, no cursing. I would call it a trash bucket.
You could curse if you had to.
Shithole!
No!
I'm sorry!
YouTube just shut us down.
All right.
I just got the call. You would think there were ghosts floating around. They would have cooled the rooms because it was 9 million degrees up there.
It was quite warm.
Everything I've learned about ghosts from watching like ghost shows on TV has been that they make it cold. So they failed.
They failed. They failed as ghosts.
You had one job, ghosts, and you freaking failed. I love that most of cable TV now is just ghosts.
Is that what it is? I haven't had cable in years.
You're missing out, man. The Travel Channel, which is the home of my favorite ghost show because it's just so ridiculous.
Right.
Ghost Adventures. Hosted by this guy, Zach Baggins. Are you familiar with the show at all? But anyway.
No, I feel like I've got it, though. I feel like...
Yeah, 90% of the Travel Channel is like, ghost adventures, haunted hotels, haunted pets.
Haunted pets?
I married a ghost. Just every show is like ghost. I'm like, aren't you supposed to be just showing the world? Like, we're at the point now where there's too many dead people, and that's it. That's all there is to talk about now.
Right.
When you travel. But yeah, Zach Baggins.
That's a good name, Zach Baggins.
Well, I've played him many times over the years in sketches.
Okay.
And I've even tried to tag him a few times, but I'm sure he despises anyone who tries to, mock or mimic him.
Hey, Zach Baggins, if you're watching this, I just want you to know it's all good. Joe does it out of love and out of aspirations for art.
I'm a fan of your work, even though I recently heard that he kind of bullies other people and says, no, my show is the only ghost show.
Really? Well,
I think he's trying to get other ghost hunting shows shut down.
That's it. You know what, Zach? I take it back. We're starting a new show.
You're a jerk.
It's called Ghost Adventures Extreme Edition. All right, none of this pussyfooting through the haunted house. We're going to show you the real nitty-gritty ghost tales.
Yeah, he's one of these guys that, they go to a house or a building and they just start yelling at nothing. Like, you hear ghosts, we're at ghosts, I will fight you. But he's, now getting older and he keeps, changing his look. He used to just kind of be, tight black t-shirt wearing, borderline, E-head.
Right.
And now he's...
I haven't heard that in a while. E-head.
That was big. When I was in high school, we're both from Long Island. There was a guy...
Represent.
We'll get into some Long Island stuff. There was a guy I was friends with, who's dead now. And because that's Long Island. Half the people you go to high school with are dead by 35 for some reason.
Yeah.
And so it was ninth grade. And this dude, we were walking to lunch and he just goes, I'm going to take ecstasy right now. And just pops in some ecstasy. And
He was
I'm
an E-head.
are you going to have sex with your lunch? What's happening
Was
now?
it E a sex drug? I never did E.
I thought it just made you, horny about everything.
We had a dance, but, performance-wise?
Yeah, well, it's what people would take when they would go to a club, but I think it's been replaced by Molly now. Molly's the big...
Right.
Or is there something else now? Are we now in, a third...
The third wave.
Third wave of party drugs.
Party drugs are going the way of the ska revolution, where we're on our...
Yeah, when I was growing up, I was sort of petrified of drugs for some reason. Because we grew up, I guess, in the 80s and 90s, and every other commercial on TV was if you do drugs, this is what will happen. And my favorite was a woman jumping off a diving board into an empty swimming
water.
pool.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
water.
Well,
She's so high she can't even tell.
Right.
Also, I remember one time it was so I survived the phase in comedy very early on where a bunch of people I went to high school with tried to do comedy. So I did one show very early on where this guy, James, who I haven't talked to him in a few years, but we're still loosely friends.
Hi, James.
He's probably not watching the show.
We're friends.
But he still lives in my hometown. I think he moved into his parents' house, which...
Big time.
Yeah, that's the dream. No, but he works for sanitation.
I got some connections.
Me too. So, where was I going with
I don't know. Drugs? Was he an E-head?
He was on, he was on drugs. He was out of his mind, high energy, doing tumble salts, doing all this crazy shit. And now you talk to him, he's like, what's up, man? He's all mellow.
It's kind of like those hippies that have one too many hit of acid, and then they just kind of click into that post-party.
He used to terrorize my best friend. One time we were just walking somewhere, and he's just like, "Hey, John!" and just ran at my friend and just body slammed him into some bushes. He was just completely out of control.
Classic bush slam.
And now you talk to him, and he's a third of the person.
Right.
He looks the same. Except, a little older.
A couple of the lights are out.
I guess. He's just hey, man, ha, ha, ha. That's so funny. Yeah, I feel so good when you make me laugh. That's the only drug he needs now.
All right. Did you have in Long Island? I'll never forget this. 5th grade, Long Island. We had a police officer come talk to the class about drugs and alcohol, and it was this cop. And this guy smelled like a bottle of liquor. He had this big mustache. And I'll never forget this. He was teaching us about sobering up. And the point...
Yeah, you drunk 5th graders.
Well, the point of the lesson was he's like, if you get drunk, you're going to stay drunk and there's nothing you can do until you sober up. and then I'll never forget that he's like, so if you got a drunk and you put him in a shower and you think you're going to sober him up, guess what? You're just going to have a wet, cold drunk.
Dead wrong! You know, and Long Island went through this phase where, like, my cousins who were older than me by, like, 10, 15 years for whatever reason.
Still older than you?
Still going.
Okay.
Used to tell me stories that, like, you'd get pulled over drunk and the cops would just take your keys and throw them into the woods and go, walk home.
That's because the cars were built differently back then. Back then, they were American-made of American steel. So they could take a little
We sold
drunk
out
bump.
to every other country, and our cars just kill us now.
Now cars are like crumpled pieces of loose leaf paper, so you can't be doing your E and your whiskey and your beers.
You can't party like you used to. They don't mention that in the Subaru commercials.
You can't drink Bud Light and drive anymore. You can't even drink Bud Light anymore.
God.
You know what has happened?
Damn it! Damn you, various presidents of different political affiliations.
Yes.
Who get the blame for this.
It's almost like they all suck.
All have it out for you. But yeah, I remember in my school we had a guy in a wheelchair who was in a wheelchair because he crashed drunk driving.
A student or like a
No,
teacher?
I mean he might have went to our school.
An administrative assistant?
No, he had nothing to do with the school at the time. He just
he was hanging around the school.
But I love that we were like young kids, like I don't know, 12, 13, 14.
Sounds very problematic.
Like, here's this guy that's crippled because he drank. So listen up. And I was like, this is the most Long Island thing ever. That we've got a guy who like crippled himself in a car accident while drunk driving.
Did they ever do this? They used to take, if there was like a car that crashed, they would plop it on the lawn of our high school. No. And it'd be like, this is what happens if you drink.
That would be amazing.
No, this is literally, I'm not making this up. They would take like cars that had been smashed in accidents, whether or not it was actually drunk drivers, and then they'd put like the mad sign, because they were mad, and they'd be like, if you drink and drive, your car is crushed.
No, they should have done that. Long Island should actually just have a museum of like destroyed cars, like crunched up cars, houses that have been crashed into, like the wall that collapsed.
They have that. That's the Billy Joel Museum.
Dude, yeah, the Billy Joel. That's why he can't stop doing concerts. He'll be like 97 years old, being like, "Only the good die young. Please kill me. End this now. I'm sorry I crashed into the house and ruined Christy Brinkley's life." Is that who he was married to?
One of many. Yeah. Oh man,
he's a bad guy.
He's great. Love him.
That's my stance on Long Island. I don't like Billy Joel, but I did like. We didn't start the fire.
Weed?
Weed.
Oh, the song.
That should have been We didn't start the fire.
We didn't start the fire.
Yeah.
Classic remix. Weird Al Yankovic.
Was all over. When I first watched that video as a kid, I thought it was Michael Keaton in the video.
It was.
It should have been.
That's the banana effect. I mean the
The banana effect is when you eat another fruit, but you're certain it was a banana.
Banana.
And it totally wasn't. So let's get that straight. That might be the title of this episode. Yeah. And you know who else is from Long Island? Jerry Seinfeld.
Is he?
He is. He's from Massapequa.
See, Billy Joel's from Massapequa too.
A lot of problems.
Originally.
Alec Baldwin. So all the troublemakers are from Long Island. You know. Imagine, like, why is Jerry Seinfeld even speaking at college campuses?
Oh, because, did you hear the speech?
No, I didn't hear it at all. I just saw the news story. But like, if you're on Long Island, Chuck Schumer speaks at every single, graduation. Like he somehow spoke at my high school graduation and college graduation, and my sister's something.
Amy's uncle.
Yes, exactly. So now kids today are like, why is Amy Schumer's creepy uncle speaking at this graduation ceremony? It's just all so weird.
Yeah.
Horrible place, but Seinfeld was sort of the reason why I got into comedy.
Great show. Amazing.
Yeah. Because when I was growing up, I was like, I want to be in entertainment. I want to have a TV show, make movies, blah, 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 blah. And I'm funny. And then I was like, and then I became obsessed with Seinfeld. It became like must-watch TV.
No doubt.
And then I was like, well, how did he get here? And then, I watched his A&E biography, and, he did stand-up comedy and got a TV show. And I'm like, that's the ticket. And, 20 years later, I'm here. So it sort of worked out.
What's the deal with the Pontillo show anyway?
What's the deal with graduating? Why? What are you graduating to? More pain and suffering?
Life is pain.
Big time.
Big time.
So here's a horrible story if you want to go along on this journey. Okay. Well, okay. So many years ago, I'm not going to mention the club's name. I'll just say that it was very Italian sounding. And it was in another state. It was in New Jersey. So anyway, so I was new to comedy. I had just stopped doing bringer shows and started looking elsewhere to do stuff. So there was this club, and they were like, hey, we're looking for some new talents. Come here and show what you got. So I was like, okay. So I drove from Long Island 80 miles to go perform for free on a Tuesday or Wednesday night.
Okay.
At this very Italian comedy club. And, there was 5 people there.
Okay.
And I do the show, and I guess it goes fine. And the new talent show was run by 2 dudes. One guy was this guy, John. Very nice guy.
Okay.
I don't work with him enough.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I'm available.
We're friends. And this other guy, Ryan, who was a horrible human being.
Oh, I was going to say hi, but...
Who needs to be stopped. Unfriended me on Facebook for absolutely no reason at all. So here's what happens. So I do the show once. No one's really there. After the show, I'm like, oh, this was fun. I'd love to do it again, maybe. Because that was just the default thing you would say all the time if you're doing a show, because comedians are sick.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no reason why I should have done that show again.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, I'll do it again. Also, I maybe would have wanted to get paid to perform there.
One day.
That'd be nice. So then I get booked to do it again. I don't know, maybe a month later, and I go back. Same thing. No one's there.
Right.
Maybe there was 5 at the first show. I think there was 4 at this show. And we're awkwardly sitting around. And then the club owner takes me outside with this guy, Ryan. And the club owner's like, one of the reasons we decided to have you back so quickly is because you said you were going to bring people. And I was like, no, I didn't say that. I would if I knew people over here, but I live on Long Island. And then the guy Ryan was like, oh, no, dude, you totally said. You messaged me on MySpace, and you were like, man, we should totally have some people next time. I'm going to bring some people. And I go, I never said that. And then the club owner just gets in my face and goes, watch what you say, and just storms away.
Wow.
I was like, oh, cool. So first of all, this dude Ryan totally made this shit up.
Right.
Because I never said that. And too long ago to have copies of it. But he definitely...
Get into MySpace. Is the website still up?
I think my MySpace page is still there. Would you like to be added to my top 8, 16?
Yeah.
32? I'm not sure how far I got with it. I'm hoping we go back to just it being YouTube and MySpace for social media.
I liked MySpace. It was cool.
MySpace was great. And everyone was like, you gotta go on Facebook. And I'm like, I don't want to be on Facebook.
Right.
And look what happened. Now we live under an authoritarian rule.
So who books that club? Sounds great. I would love to get yelled at.
The angry Italian guy who kind of threatened me. This also might be the place where a comic we probably both know got a beer thrown at them.
Yeah. No, I figured it out right when you started talking there, Joe. Not as dumb as I look, but.
Which is something I've been trying to have happen, but... people are just buying me beers. Can I get on Jimmy Kimmel if audience members buy me a beer after the show?
It hasn't worked for me.
Jimmy Kimmel, watch this. This guy's buying me a beer, even though I drink for free. Book me on your show.
The owner would like that. Owners like that.
No, they don't. They don't like when you do well. They actually hate that.
No. Owners like when you're drinking for free and someone offers to buy you a drink. You still have them buy the drink. Yeah. Inside secret.
You gotta make weird eye contact with them and be like, "See what I'm doing here?"
Yeah.
I don't want the free drink.
I want you to buy it.
Sucker, buy me.
Sucker, buy me this Bud Light.
Yeah,
you sucker.
We got him. So anyway, then I awkwardly have to do the show after this for 4 people.
Oh, that was before the show.
Yeah, that was before.
Oh, you didn't make that clear.
No,
I thought that was after.
Yeah, and then Is
he standing in the back, like kind of staring down there?
Nah, he just like was rumbling around the place, not really caring about anything. So
Man.
So I've never been back to that place since then.
Let's go.
Which is sad. Well, not sad, but but like to be new at comedy, be like 20 whatever it was, 23, 24 years old. I was like still a kid at that time.
Right.
So to have something like that where you're like vaguely threatened.
Right.
And all because this guy Ryan didn't know how to get people to the freaking club on like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
So then he's like, oh, I'm going to throw this guy under the bus because A, he's not from around here.
Right.
And B, what's he going to do? Pull out a MySpace message?
Because you didn't have phone. You didn't have smartphones back then.
No.
You should have went inside. Let me log on to your desktop computer.
Get me a computer. Yeah, and then that guy probably would have been like, I'm calling the cops or something.
Maybe not the cops.
Yeah, probably not the cops. I'm calling my brother.
Calling my cousin, Vinny.
Luigi. There might have been a Luigi in there. But so anyway, so that was a lot of things happened early on in comedy that I was like, man, how did I stick with this?
Right.
That was definitely one of them.
I feel like that happens still to this day. Every day.
I mean, well, it's been a while. There's shows. Okay, so like I did a show a couple of weeks ago, and I should have known better. There's this guy, and he means well. And he's booked a show for years in New York City. Like probably more than 15 years.
My God.
He's an older dude. When I first did a show years ago, it was great. But the show has gotten worse and worse throughout the years.
Oh, should I guess?
Not yet. So he used to run a show at a hostel. Way uptown.
All the way up there.
And back in the day, it was awesome. Like, it was a great show. But it was because people who weren't staying at the hostel would come.
Right.
You could bring your own beer.
Yep.
But then, like, the New York City Board of Health came and were like, oh, no, people shouldn't be here. And then, like, they'd only get, like, the confused, like, non-English speaking tourists to come
Oh,
to the
yeah.
show.
Yeah, I've done it that way.
To the point where, like, it was down to, like, maybe you'd get 3 audience and if one of them spoke English. And he would just keep doing the show. And the problem isn't even him. It's that comics would just keep saying yes to the show even though it was never good.
Right.
It's one thing to be like, well, it's a workout show. You can't work anything out.
No one understands what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's a language barrier.
And
last time we did the show, I don't know. I could speak Spanish. I don't have any jokes in Spanish. I just spoke in Spanish.
Right. I mean,
just to relate.
I could try, but it wouldn't feel good. It's like when I go to the restaurant with my family, and then my dad's like, mantequilla, and I'm like, please no. But
Prego.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, so this guy got a new venue. So I was like, all right, maybe the new venue actually promotes it.
Right.
Boy, was I wrong.
What's the new venue?
It's called the Chelsea Hotel.
In Chelsea?
I hope. Yeah, it was on like 20-something street.
I feel like I did a show there for somebody else.
It's a good little space if you get people, but no one came to the show. And the show just started because that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's another thing. If there's not a single actual audience member at the show, don't do the show.
People are doing it.
Stop doing it.
People are still doing it.
Every time someone's like, do you do open mics? I go, no, but sometimes when you do comedy in New York City, the show ends up being an open mic. So I guess technically. And then one confused dude showed up with a beard.
Oh,
and he was from Brooklyn, originally from West Hempstead.
Was it me?
No, it was you, man. Come on. No, and he was like, he was okay as an audience member, but he also was like, I'm the only audience member. This is weird.
Right.
And on top of everything else, the intro I got was like the worst intro. It was just like, hey, this guy headlined this club in another state no one here has heard of. Okay, here's Joe. It's like, oh my God.
There's been worse intros.
There's been worse. The worst intro I got recently was I was doing a show for our mutual friend who we're going to leave nameless.
Okay.
And it was just like weird hybrid show where there was like music and comedy. And this guy who was hosting wasn't actually a comedian. He's like an actor who uses like a weird nickname.
Get him out.
Fired. So he goes...
Canceled.
Finished. So he brings me up as... this next guy coming to the stage, he edited the latest episode of blah, 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 blah. Here it is, Joe Pontillo. What are you doing?
Right.
What do you? Nobody knows the show you're referencing. Nobody watches this thing.
This guy edited the show.
He edited a video I was in.
This guy's got Premiere Pro. And he's also a pro at comedy. Put your hands together for Joe Pontillo.
Yeah, this guy clearly went to school for filmmaking, and now he's doing comedy for free. So that's an indictment of the entire educational system.
Give me that guy's social security number.
That's actually his Instagram page.
I was thinking of changing my Twitter handle to my social security number.
It's time.
Yeah.
Matt is on... are we allowed to talk about this? Or
Twitter?
Is this a secret?
What?
Your Twitter account?
No one follows me on Twitter.
No one follows you on Twitter, but if you didn't know...
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Literally nobody knows.
Matt has an alter ego that runs a Twitter account.
Yeah.
And the best part is it's clearly a picture from you from like 8 years ago or 9 years ago?
At 9-ish years ago. I had a mustache. I had this 8-month period where I had a mustache. So it's an alter ego. So I got the mustache, Matt Peters.
Yeah, go follow him for the one tweet every week.
Yeah, I used to tweet a little bit.
Yeah.
At one point I was getting 2-3 likes sometimes.
It was good times.
But
Twitter is like where I feel like the place where I've simultaneously gotten like the most career-wise out of things, but also the most hate.
Really?
Yeah. I used to be big into like sports Twitter, and those people are all very toxic. And then I briefly in like 2016, like for some reason decided to go, yeah, I'm going to be political. I want to be a big Bernie guy.
Oh,
and
no.
for some reason, because I'm like, that'll generate followers quickly. Which, yes, it did, but also got just as many people who were just like, blocked!
Right.
Like I'm blocked by Greg Proops, the guy who's from, whose line is it anyway?
Greg Poops?
Poops is more like it, for no reason. I never interact with them.
Right.
But like what happens is if you follow somebody that someone else argues with on Twitter,
right,
they'll get so mad at this one person, they'll block everyone that follows them.
Wow.
So like if I followed somebody who like had the wrong political opinions,
right,
someone who got into a fight with them was like, well, I'm going to block everyone that follows them so that somehow none of them can, like, what is that even? If you're blocking more than like one person on the internet, don't be on the internet.
Right. You should get a job in the government then.
Yeah. Where no one can ever talk to you about anything.
Right.
Please, my family's dying. Get away, you're poor.
Yeah.
That's what I should have done. Damn you, Seinfeld.
Eat the poor. Eat the poor, right?
I bet he does. Hey-o. Okay.
That's a song by the Dick Kennedys.
Yeah. What was your worst intro?
My word! Oh man, there's been so many bad ones. The people get my name wrong a lot, which is like crazy because like
Splat Vita.
My name is Matt Vita. I get Mike a lot, which is actually funny because that's my brother's name. But it's not that these people know my brother; it's just that they're stupid, you know.
You have a brother? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mike
Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, I think someone brought me up as like JoePontillo, just added like a whole bunch of vowels to my name. My favorite time, well, two favorite things. One, it was at a comedy club that doesn't exist anymore in Connecticut called Joker's Wild. And so the host is about to bring me on and he goes, all right, give it up for your featured comedian, Joe. And then he just doesn't remember my name, my last name. And he just freezes. And he looks at me, and then looks back at the crowd, and looks at me again, and I go, I'm not coming on stage till you say something.
That's funny.
And then he just goes, I don't know your last name. And I'm like, Pontillo.
Yeah, I always write it in my pocket. I've not had to take it out of my pocket in like 5 years. If I host a lot. Try not to do it, but you host a lot. I always have it. And then if you ever mess up, at least have it as a backup.
Right. Or, just go, all right, give it up for your next comedian, Tom, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
There's one comic, I'm not going to say his name, who never remembers anybody's name. And he just does this thing where he like gets the crowd really hyped. He's like, all right, guys, you ready for your next comedian? They've been on something. They've been on something else. They're here to make you laugh. Get over! And they just kind of and you don't even know what they're saying. And it doesn't even matter.
I do a version of that sometimes. Like with the last name.
That's your whole act.
Yeah. That is my act. Yeah. Come see me live. This is not getting brought up, but I was doing a show in the great state of Maine. I've done a lot of great shows up there. Actually, just booked a couple more. So find me in Maine. But I was doing this show, and the host, I was like, how much time am I doing? And what did he say? he's like,
"You're not on the show."
No, he said, kill yours. No, he said,
Quit.
Why are you here? Shave your beard.
Go back to New York.
He's like, do you know what the comment section on YouTube's gonna do to you walking around with that beard? I said,
destroyed.
Yeah. No, but he's like, you're doing about 10 minutes. He's like, and he was so serious. He was trying to be a tough guy. He's like, I don't like people. He's like, I'm just gonna kind of give you a look, but don't make me wait.
I'm gonna give you a look. What's the look? Is it a nod or is it like a?
I don't know.
He just goes.
I'll be honest. Up until that point in the show, people were just kind of bombing, and I actually had a good set. So then, like, his look, like he started actually laughing as opposed to just started to be like this. So I just kind of did what I wanted to do, and then I was like, all right, well, give it up for the terrible host.
The best intros are when you do a couple times I've done colleges, and I was the first comic to go on, and you get a student to introduce you.
Oh, that's cute.
They don't want to.
Right.
They don't even want to speak. They'll just grab. They won't even They don't even take the mic out of the stand or even put their mouth towards it. They're just like, "Hey, okay, please welcome Joe." And then that's it.
They run,
and
then they leave the college.
They leave. They drop out.
They drop. Never pay tuition. That's the highest amount of army
on their student loans.
Army recruitments are people that have to bring up people out of college. Run straight to the recruitment office. Send me to Iraq.
And there's just no way you're gonna do well after that because that's worse than if you came on stage to nothing.
Yeah. Because I've had it a lot. Like I said, people say Mike a lot or get my name wrong. And it's never a good way to start. And sometimes you address it, and then it's like no one cares. And if people say Mike, I'm just always like, it's my brother. It's like you don't know my brother, you don't care. Now I'm starting in a hole.
Someone in the crowd's gonna be like, yeah, I know Mike.
Yeah.
So tonight we're performing at the Portal in New York City. That's where you can see people from Dublin.
Yeah.
That's fun. We're just gonna yell jokes, and then we can say we performed in Ireland.
That's a good idea.
Kind of our new thing we're doing. We're actually sort of going on tour together twice in the coming month and a half or 2 months, and conveniently, both of our cars have just died. So we failed to jump my car, and then it luckily turned out it was just the battery. $600 something later somehow. Yeah,
and then the car that we were trying to jump his with, the alternator died.
Right, which is so much more serious.
Right.
But hey, that thing goes once. Good to I don't know. We're screwed.
It's good luck. Well, it's like, you never want to have a good dress rehearsal. You always want to have a bad rehearsal, good performance.
Yeah, so I get towed to the dealership in Queens, and it's like 3:30 in the morning. The tow truck driver just drops my car in front of the driveway that leads into the garage. And I'm like, I think they're going to get mad. And I'm sitting there freaking out. I'm like, do I need to sit with the car until they open at 7 a.m.? But then I'm like, oh, wait, we're on a hill. I could put the car into neutral and just roll it. Yeah, so I rolled it out of the way. I left a sad note in the window. And then I called a Lyft. And I walked like 2 doors down, and I was in front of what turned out to be a strip club.
Yeah. Oh, I know where you were.
Yeah.
Did you go in?
They were closed.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought strip clubs are 24 hours.
I guess not anymore because New York City is dead.
Thanks de Blasio.
Bloomberg. Eric Adams.
Giuliani, if that's even your real name.
Eric Adams, who's currently flying into the Aurora Borealis to tell them to knock it off.
Yeah.
Because they're causing so many problems in New York City.
Is it just that all politicians suck?
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Just not really good ones?
If there's good ones, they last exactly 1 term and then get killed.
Right. JFK.
Hey! Anyway.
RFK for president.
Oh my god.
Right?
I don't know.
Maybe?
I don't know if I can... If he wins, I don't know. He's going to have to get someone else to talk for him, though.
Yeah, that voice is a little...
Yeah. Vladimir Putin! I don't know if I can listen to that.
Yeah. Well, just I don't know. Use AI to you could or it's kind of with Waze, you could pick what voice you want. You should have presidential Waze.
He will win the election if someone asks him how to pronounce RFK and he goes Rifk. That's what he needs. Or he just do something insane.
He's doing well. He's already got a bridge. New York's got an RFK bridge.
Yeah, well, New York's going to get angry and turn it back into the tri-borough
if he's elected.
If he takes too many votes away from Biden or Trump. I'm not sure what they're going to get angry about.
Oh, man.
You ruined democracy by running and trying to make it a three-party race. How dare you, sir? How dare you? If we want, we'll have one party. We don't even want two.
It is. It's
two's, and the two's a lie anyway.
It's one. It's the party of war. It's all
sad people who still think there's like a difference in it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, but they're yelling about different things. Okay.
they're all laughing in the same smoke-filled room.
Filled with smoke, and they don't even get cancer. They're all vampires.
Yeah.
Can't kill them. Stake to the heart. Anyway. So, I don't know when this episode probably won't drop till next week. So, I've got a weird this week, I got a whole bunch of stuff going on my Long Beach Wednesday.
Oh, Long Beach.
16th? I lost track of the dates.
Where in Long Beach?
Shore House Grill?
Sure.
Why not?
House Grill. All right.
Yeah. I'm headlining.
Yeah.
All the hot spots on Long Island. And then Thursday, I'm in Connecticut with Sharon Simon.
Sharon.
Yeah. And then Friday, I'm off. And then Saturday, I'm doing something in Cortland, New York. And then round one of Last Comic Standing at Mohegan Sun, Uncasville. Yeah, baby. Get those tickets.
Get them.
And then I weirdly have like 10 days where nothing's going on.
Nice.
And then we go. I got Bomb Shelter Comedy on May 30th. And then Friday, what is it? The 31st, we're doing Park Theater in Glens Falls with our guy, Thomas Attila Lewis. Tom Lewis.
Tom Lewis.
I don't know how he wants to be credited, but he's DJ Tom Dog on
DJ Tom Dog, the big
Instagram. T. And he's suspended from Twitter. Fun fact about
Really?
Tom. Oh,
Tom?
yeah.
He's like the nicest dude.
Oh man.
Let's
talk about it.
Yeah, let's take it offline.
Save it for the road. And then later, and then Saturday, June 1st, we're with our guy Tegan in, I think the place is called like Bar Arcade or Arcade Grill.
Barcade.
It's not Barcade.
It's not that.
Totally different place. It's at 9:00 is it Bedford or New Bedford, Massachusetts?
One of the Bedfords.
Whatever. It's going to be an insane time. It's on my website, so go look it up there. And then we might be in Boston that Sunday or go home in defeat.
We'll be in Boston.
We'll be in Boston.
We'll be in Boston.
In one form or another. All right. Anything you want to plug?
This probably won't be out. I'm in Atlantic City Comedy Club on Wednesday.
Oh, no one cares.
Oh, all right. Goodbye.
Matt, any film festival? My fans hate film festivals.
Oh, your fans hate film festivals. All right, man.
I had a filmmaker on the last episode.
And they hated it?
They hated it.
All right. Well, don't watch my film. That's not coming out. Do you see what I did there?
Very good.
Because I do want you to watch it.
He's
it is coming
out.
He's being
negative about it.
No, I'm like, because they're like, I don't have a beard. I don't have a film that's coming out. It's not called Killington. Don't watch it. I don't know.
All right. Well, hit like and subscribe and leave a comment if you like this. And there's the Patreon. I'll put a link there. It's whatever, though. Am I right?
I've got a Patreon, too.
Oh, okay.
Put it up.
Put it there.
Put it there.
Somebody.
Put it there, pal.
I keep yelling to an imaginary producer. It's just never going to show up.
Turn it on!
All right. See you later.
Ciao.